Chapter 1016, A Brief Glance. Outside the hall, the three from the Ji family and Emperor Ghost Scales were fighting against several dozen armored guards. Zhao Feng didn't plan on them coming in, so he left a little more than a dozen guards so they could test themselves. These guards were all peak-tier kings or emperor, and they were subordinates of Sacred Lord Black Shark. They were all professional assassins, so they were more experienced in fighting than the others here. Let's try this move, Black Wind Ghost Claw. A giant black claw on the back of Emperor Ghost Scales' hand flashed with a cold light and radiated a terrifying ghastly aura. Whoosh! Several dozen black claws suddenly appeared and shot forward like sharp blades. Peng! Boom! 4 black armored guards started to panic against Emperor Ghost Scales' move, and many holes were sliced open on their armor. Hey, this inheritance sacred weapon isn't too bad. Emperor Ghost Scales had been inspecting this inheritance sacred weapon for a long time. This was the first time he had actually taken it into combat, so he kept on trying out different skills and techniques with it. On the other side, the three from the Ji family worked together to fight the remaining guards. Amongst them, Ji Lan was responsible for restraining the guards and supporting them with illusions while Ji Vuye and Ji Tianming used illusion attacks. Purple Star Illusion Domain. Purple mist spread through Ji Lan's eyes and enveloped the black armored guards nearby. These guards' minds instantly became chaotic, and they made many mistakes. Falling meteors. Blue and purple flames suddenly blasted out from Ji Vuye's eyes. Boom! Boom! Countless blue and purple flaming meteorites filled the sky in the soul dimension and crushed downward. The momentum could crush one's mind and make them unable to resist. Ji Vuye's mutated purple star eyes were the strongest amongst their trio. The battle within the teleportation hall obviously attracted the attention of many experts in the spiritual palace. What's happening within the teleportation hall? I can feel several mystic light realm sacred lords fighting there. Let's not approach. Due to the shocking mystic light realm level magnificent power, many experts could only watch the situation with their divine sense. They didn't dare to enter. However, an elder in gray had a calm expression as he slowly approached the teleportation hall. Let's see if we can use this teleportation array or not. The elder in gray had a normal expression on his face as he looked at the chaotic fight between the Ji family members and the black armored guards. At this moment in time, Sacred Lord Black Shark charged out from the entrance. Get ready to leave. Sacred Lord Black Shark's voice sounded, and the black armored guards outside immediately retreated and prepared to leave with Sacred Lord Black Shark. All of you are Zhao Feng's accomplices. Die. Sacred Lord Black Shark looked at the 3 disciples of the Ji family, Emperor Ghost Scales, and the elder in gray not far away, and deadliness appeared in his eyes. Boom. A surge of Sacred Lord level magnificent power suddenly descended and created explosions across the entire palace. The 3 from the Ji family and Emperor Ghost Scales all felt their bodies freeze under the pressure of a Sacred Lord. They were unable to move their true yuan or bloodlines, and the terrifying pressure was about to crush them. However, this sacred power instantly disappeared, and the 3 from the Ji family and Emperor Ghost Scales all let out a breath. Is the teleportation array still usable? The elder in gray suddenly asked. This. Sacred Lord Black Shark revealed a stunned expression, and his heart started to thud as cold sweat poured from his forehead. That elder managed to destroy his Sacred Lord level magnificent power so easily. He hadn't actually inspected this elder's cultivation and only thought that he was on Zhao Feng's side. Since he was standing outside instead of fighting inside, then his cultivation shouldn't have been very high. However, after closely inspecting him, Sacred Lord Black Shark realized that he couldn't see through his elder's cultivation level at all. The 3 from the Ji family and Emperor Ghost Scales held their breath and looked toward the elder in gray. They only knew that Sacred Lord Black Shark was at the beginning stages of the mystic light realm, but this elder seemed to be even stronger than Sacred Lord Black Shark. Sacred Lord Black Shark had a complicated expression. If he didn't leave now and was caught by Zhao Feng and Sacred Lord Kangcheng, he would definitely die. Explode. Sacred Lord Black Shark didn't expect Zhao Feng to bring such an expert along with him, and his eyes became even deadlier. The bodies and souls of his subordinates started to expand, and a surge of destruction started to brew. Boom. 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 The black armored guards exploded, and the terrifying force destroyed the entrance to the hall. I will avenge all of you. Sacred Lord Black Shark turned into a streak of black light that sped into the distance. Come back. An old voice sounded from the center of the explosions. Boom. Wang tilde. The sky became dark, and limitless intent passed through the air. How is this possible? Sacred Lord Black Shark's body froze in the air. He was unable to move forward. His body was restrained by an ultimate power. The smoke faded away and revealed the Elder in Grey, who was completely unharmed. His eyes were like calm water as he looked at Sacred Lord Black Shark. Elsewhere, a tall gold and blue body stood in front of the three from the G family and Emperor Ghost Scales. Zhao Feng, thank you. Emperor Ghost Scales felt extremely lucky. When the guards exploded, Zhao Feng arrived and circulated his sacred lightning body and his sacred lightning protection to block the blast in front of them. Even Zhao Feng would be unable to handle the self-destruction of more than a dozen kings and emperors if he took it head-on. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's heart shook as he looked at the Elder in Grey not far away. This elder had easily restrained Sacred Lord Black Shark. His true strength was at least at the late-stage Sacred Lord level, or perhaps he was even a Sacred King. Who? Sacred Lord Black Shark couldn't move as he wished as he slowly returned to the ground. He had an expression of despair on his face. He didn't think that Zhao Feng's helper would be so strong. The assassination had failed, and now he had nowhere to escape to. Ha 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 ha, let's die together then. Sacred Lord Black Shark contorted as his power condensed and instantly exploded. Not good, watch out. Even Zhao Feng didn't dare to overestimate himself against Sacred Lord Black Shark's self-destruction. Zhao Feng spread his wings in his little world of wind lightning as he pulled up the 3G family members and Emperor Ghost Scales and rushed into the sky. Boom. 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 Everything around the teleportation hall was destroyed, and many emperors watching the show were injured by the blast. Even a sacred lord had self-destructed, so the spectators all ran away. However, the Elder in Grey just stood there and protected himself with some intent. No damage was done to him. Thank you, Senior, for helping me kill this assassin. Zhao Feng went forward to give his thanks. It didn't matter if this elder had done it on purpose or not. If he had done nothing, Sacred Lord Black Shark might very likely have gotten away. Little friend, is the array within the teleportation hall still usable? The Elder in Grey asked. Zhao Feng's left eye scanned toward the direction of the teleportation array. A defensive array around it had been destroyed, but the teleportation array itself was still fine. The array is still fine. It can still be used. Zhao Feng landed on the ground and released the 3G family members and Emperor Ghost Scales from his little world of wind lightning. Zhao Feng, we need to leave as soon as possible, Old Ying messaged. Old Ying, the ninth prince, and Sacred Lord Kangchong were relatively far away from the explosion, so they weren't injured. However, the three of them were injured earlier. Their positions had been revealed, and this place was extremely unsafe. For example, the Elder in Grey outside had immeasurable strength. If he was an enemy, they would have been dead already. They needed to go to the battlefield and report this to the Imperials. Senior, if you don't mind, you can come with us. Zhao Feng invited this elder since he felt no ill intentions from him. There's no need. I'm still waiting for my disciple. The Elder in Grey rejected Zhao Feng's invitation. Goodbye then. Zhao Feng, the members of the Ji family, and Emperor Ghost Scales said goodbye to the Elder in Grey. Old Ying put in several peak-grade primal crystal stones in the ancient teleportation stage, and a white light started to flash as countless silver array lines started to extend. Sacred Lord Kangchong and Old Ying looked at the mysterious elder and felt lucky that he wasn't their enemy. At the same time, they felt that Sacred Lord Black Shark's luck was rather bad. At this instant in time, a figure in white headed toward the Elder in Grey. The girl wore snow-white clothes, and her peerless beauty was like a pure and white lotus. She gave off a faint smile and gave others a peaceful sensation. Zhao Feng's eyes suddenly shook as he looked toward this elegant girl who seemed to come from a painting. Even Zhao Feng, who was used to seeing beauties, was deeply attracted. At the same time, he also felt an unknown familiar sensation. Just like when the little thieving cat unveiled Lu Qinshan's face back at Flooding Lake City in the Azure Flower Continent, and her beauty was enough to dazzle anyone for a short moment. So pretty. Emperor Ghost Scales was dazed as he looked at the girl in white. Even Jilan was completely attracted by her. At the same time, the girl in white looked toward the ninth prince and company in the teleportation array, and her eyes landed on Zhao Feng. The aura given off by the golden hair and the golden eye made her feel a close affinity, but in the next instant, The ninth prince, Zhao Feng, and company disappeared from the teleportation stage. Master, I bought a decent chin. The girl in white revealed her teeth in a smile. You haven't been paying attention, you actually left your chin behind. The elder in gray said. Little beauty, why did you come here? Don't run, little goddess, we just want to be your friends, hey. The playful voices of two males sounded from outside as two bulky males jumped over. They were both quasi-sacred lords, and they didn't feel much of a threat from the elder next to the girl, so they didn't really bother with him. Causing trouble for me again. The elder in gray revealed a helpless smile, and the girl's face went faintly red as she gave an awkward smile. Wang. The color of the elder's left eye suddenly started to change, and a black figure jumped out. This black figure only existed in a soul state, and it had countless curses and talismans on it. The appearance was similar to Sacred Lord Black Shark. What is this? The two males' expression changed. This weird scene gave them a bad feeling. Sacred Lord Black Shark's soul suddenly charged out, and a terrifying Sacred Lord soul intent smashed forward. Run. The two males' expressions turned to fear and panic as they immediately tried to run. Who tilt-a-boom? The two big males fell to the ground, their souls had been completely destroyed. Sacred Lord Black Shark's soul then turned into a streak of black light and merged into the left eye of the elder in gray. Let's go. The teleportation array is still usable. The elder in gray and the girl in white walked toward the ancient array stage. Chapter 1017, 3 Province Battlefield. When Zhao Feng, the ninth prince, and company appeared on the other teleportation stage, everyone sat on Zhao Feng's flying flaming chariot and charged into the sky. 8 was the maximum capacity of the flying flaming chariot. Look, that's... The value of that flying machine should be pretty high. This spiritual palace was even more chaotic than the last. Zhao Feng and company flying into the sky attracted many gazes, and several dozen figures immediately followed behind them. Humph. Sacred Lord Kang Chong snickered coldly and unleashed his Sacred Lord aura. Boom. The blood within the several dozen figures shook as this supreme aura pushed them back. Sacred Lord. There's no hope. Many people left, but there were still a few greedy gazes left after seeing that there were 8 people on the flying chariot. Zhao Feng, this flying machine is pretty good. Old Ying had a praising expression. The flying steed that they had been using was nothing in comparison to this. Flying steeds needed rest, and without a beast tamer, accidents might happen during a long journey that would be hard to resolve. This was upgraded by a blacksmith array master in Chen Province, Ji Tianming, who talked a lot, answered. Little friend Zhao Feng is indeed fierce and strong like the rumors. Sacred Lord Kang Chong revealed a faint smile. He was sent by the Imperials to protect the ninth prince. Of course, there were many other people with him as well. However, there was a big difference between them and Sacred Lord Black Shark's group. This time, if it wasn't for Zhao Feng, they would have all died within the hall. Zhao Feng, how did you find us? Old Ying asked what he was puzzled about. The array had blocked all sound, power, and spiritual senses. When they were trapped inside, no one had entered. This. A square golden token with a dragon on it appeared in Zhao Feng's hand. Imperial Sky Token. Old Ying and Sacred Lord Kang Chong instantly understood. Although the Imperial Sky Token symbolized the status of an Imperial, it had another ability, to increase the power of the wearer's draconic providence. There was still a bit of the ninth prince's draconic providence within the Imperial Sky Token. Previously, the ninth prince was relying on his draconic providence to fight, so he could obviously sense the Imperial Sky Token not far away. However, the two were surprised by the fact that the ninth prince had given his Imperial Sky Token to Zhao Feng. Maybe this was karma. Who would want to assassinate the Crown Prince? Emperor Ghost Scales asked. For him, the Crown Prince was the person with noblest identity that he had ever seen. We have no clue. Old Ying had a grim expression. Assassins were only responsible for taking the missions and finishing off the targets. They didn't care about anything else, therefore, even if their targets won and left some of them alive, they wouldn't be able to get any information. Although they were planning to report this when they arrived at their destination, they probably wouldn't be able to find out anything. Zhao Feng, our final stop is in the territory of the Tai family. Old Ying warned. Apart from Emperor Ghost Scales, everyone else present knew a bit about the enmity between Zhao Feng and the Tai family. However, there was nothing they could do about this. The Tai family was the main area where the non-humans were attacking. Sacred King Feather Spirit was guarding the place, and they needed to go there first. Brother Zhao, the Tai family won't do anything to you. The ninth prince immediately stood up. With the ninth prince's current identity, the Tai family wouldn't dare to do anything to Zhao Feng, at least on the surface. There were experts and forces of every sort on the way. Most of them joined the front lines in order to gather battle points and exchange them for precious resources. Some were here because they were bloodthirsty or wanted to gain more experience. About 10 days later, the group arrived before a large, stunning gold and red palace. A fierce aura of slaughter washed over them. A group of people would patrol around the gold and red palace at every 10 meters. The ninth prince took out a token and showed it to the ones guarding the city. These guards led their group into the palace. After 3 different groups led them in, the ninth prince and company finally arrived at the very center. "Wait for me outside," the ninth prince said to the others. Apart from Sacred Lord Kangchong, no one else had the right to enter. "I'll tell you about the Great Gon Lord Dynasty's situation," Old Ying suddenly said. Everyone else had nothing to do, and it was good for them to know how the war was going. "Half of the area over 3 provinces have fallen. 1,000,000 miles away from us is the stronghold of the non-humans," Old Ying said in a solemn tone. Everyone's expression changed after hearing what Old Ying said, and they looked toward the front. The war between the 2 Lord dynasties had lasted for over a year, and although the Great Gon Lord dynasty had managed to turn around their initial disadvantage, they didn't have the ability to take back the land they had lost. Since a portion of those 3 provinces had fallen, the war was mainly based off these 3 provinces. These 3 provinces were Ling Province, where the Tai family was based, Shuang Province, where the Yu family was based, and Lan Province, where Grand Duke Lan's palace ruled. "Lan Province, Grand Duke Lan's palace?" Zhao Feng asked. "That's right. Grand Duke Lan's palace is one of the forces that supports His Highness." Old Ying had a solemn tone. In the Crown Prince trial, Su Qingling came from Grand Duke Lan's palace. Lan Province was the weakest province of the 3. "Where will we be assigned?" Ji Vuye asked. "Wait." Old Ying said one word. Everyone understood that they would only know the result after the ninth prince and Sacred Lord Kangchong came out. For them, the best choice would be if they went to the Yu family's province since they were on the same side now. Although Lan Province supported the ninth prince, Lan Province's overall strength was relatively weak, and they weren't the non-humans' match. It wasn't a good place for the ninth prince to show good results. As for Ling Province, they supported the 4th prince, and the Tai family had a weird relationship with Zhao Feng, so Zhao Feng didn't want to stay behind in Ling Province. On top of that, Zhao Feng didn't know which province the members of the Ocean Smoke Pavilion were at. "What's that?" Ji Lan looked into the distance. At the very center of the hall were rows of red stone boards that were 100 meters tall. Blood seemed to bubble from them, and countless names were written all over them as golden light blinked. "That's the war board ranking. The top 5,000 people with the most war points in Ling Province will be displayed on the war board rankings," Old Ying explained. The war board ranking was to encourage the soldiers of the Great Gon Lord dynasty to kill more enemies and be more courageous. It was also a display of glory and strength. These war points wouldn't decrease even if one used them to buy resources. Apparently, after the war ended, those ranked in the top 100 would gain unique rewards. Zhao Feng's eyes swept over the war board ranking and saw a few familiar names, such as Suan Yuan Wen, Tai Ling Yun, and Sacred Lord 10,000 Lightning. Amongst them, Suan Yuan Wen and Tai Ling Yun were ranked around 100th while Sacred Lord 10,000 Lightning was in the top 50. Of course, Zhao Feng realized that there weren't any late-stage mystic light realms on the war board ranking, let alone a Sacred King. Don't underestimate these war points. Now that the Great Gon Lord dynasty wants to turn the tide around quickly, the rarity and preciousness of some rewards you can buy exceed your imagination. Old Ying knew that the people that followed Zhao Feng here were also going to enter the battlefield and kill enemies, so he used this to encourage them. At this moment, the ninth prince and Sacred Lord Kangchong walked out from the golden red palace. "We leave tomorrow," the ninth prince said. Old Ying and Zhao Feng could tell from the ninth prince's tone that their destination should be Lan Province. If the ninth prince had seen Sacred King Feather Spirit, they might have very likely been sent to Shuang Province, which suited the ninth prince most. It was obvious that the ninth prince should have met some upper echelon of the Tai family instead. Being a force that supported the fourth prince, the Tai family wanted to stop the ninth prince from having big accomplishments, so he was obviously sent to Lan province. Apart from that, Lan province and Shuang province were on either side of Ling province. This meant that the overall strength of the ninth prince had been split up. After all, news of the eighth prince supporting the crown prince had spread throughout the upper echelons of many forces. Come with me. Everyone followed Sacred Lord Kangchong to a side hall that no one stayed in. However, a person arrived as soon as Zhao Feng stepped into the hall. Greetings, Your Highness Crown Prince. The newcomer bowed to the ninth prince. Zhao Feng, the Grand Elder of the Tai family invites you over. The person then spoke to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng had to admire how fast the Tai family's actions were. The news of him following the ninth prince had probably already spread throughout the upper echelon of the Tai family. However, since Ling province was the Tai family's territory, Zhao Feng not going over would only make the situation worse. Zhao Feng, I'll come with you, the ninth prince immediately said. He didn't expect the Tai family to be so stubborn with Zhao Feng. The moment they arrived, the Tai family took action. Furthermore, this time, it was someone with even more power in the Tai family. No need. Zhao Feng rejected the ninth prince's good intentions. Please, this way. The person from the Tai family flew into the air with Zhao Feng behind him. With this person leading him, Zhao Feng arrived at the inner hall behind the main hall. After arriving, the member of the Tai family retreated. Come in. An old voice sounded, and it made Zhao Feng's heart jump. Although this voice was calm, it made Zhao Feng's body feel hot as his bloodline started to shake. One could tell that the owner of this voice was not simple. Zhao Feng then stepped into this golden red hall. There were only two figures within the hall. One wore white robes and had red hair. His aura was extremely faint, as if he had the body of a mortal. On the other hand, the other figure lit up Zhao Feng's eyes. It was a tall female with a stunning face in red. She had a pair of eyes that could attract one's soul, and she was currently smiling as she inspected Zhao Feng. Have a seat, the elder in white said with a faint smile. May I know why Senior wanted this junior to come here? Zhao Feng felt that things were different from what he expected. He also felt several hidden but powerful auras within the hall. I hope little friend Zhao doesn't take what the Tai family did before to heart. The elder in white robes sat down and said. Of course not. The Tai family hasn't done anything to this junior. Zhao Feng's expression remained the same. Hearing that, the white-robed elder laughed. Does little friend Zhao have any misunderstandings about the Tai family? The white-robed elder asked slowly. He was obviously asking for the reason Zhao Feng didn't want to join the Tai family. The attitude of the grand elder of the Tai family made Zhao Feng feel uncomfortable. After all, in the past, the people of the Tai family gave Zhao Feng the feeling that they were extremely forceful. Of course not. The Tai family guards the northwestern border against the non-humans. This junior admires this fact very much. Zhao Feng gave a respectful reply. Ha ha ha, the younger generation of the Tai family also admires little friend Zhao's performance in the Crown Prince trial. The white-robed elder said with a smile. This is my granddaughter, Tai Hongling. She has always wanted to meet little friend Zhao, and she can finally do so today. The gorgeous female immediately walked forward after the white-robed elder finished speaking. Chapter 1018, In Spite of Oneself. This is my granddaughter, Tai Hongling. She has always wanted to meet little friend Zhao, and she can finally do so today. The gorgeous female immediately walked forward after the white-robed elder finished speaking. I'm Tai Hongling, and I'm privileged to meet young Sir Zhao. Tai Hongling's voice sounded, and she gave a faint bow. Her plentiful breasts were about to leap out, and she gave a faint smile as she inspected Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed, and he looked at the white-robed elder. This time, the Tai family's attitude was very different from before, and they didn't even mention his perfect blood devil son bloodline yet. Zhao Feng didn't know what the Tai family's intentions were. Hongling has heard of young Sir Zhao's stories a long time ago, and young Sir Zhao is indeed handsome and strong as the stories say. Tai Hongling started to speak. In reality, the Tai family was planning on using her to tie Zhao Feng to them with marriage. Tai Hongling was the #1 beauty of the Tai family, and she had countless males after her from all 8 big families, but she didn't like any of them. The Tai family placed great importance on Zhao Feng's display in the Crown Prince trial. Her grandfather even came up with the idea of having her marry Zhao Feng. Tai Hongling had obviously come this time to see her future husband. She wanted to see what differences this male with the perfect blood devil son bloodline had in comparison to the other geniuses of the Tai family. If all Zhao Feng had was the bloodline but was useless in every other respect, she wouldn't agree. However, seeing Zhao Feng's calm attitude, handsome face, and cold eyes, Tai Hongling's heart swayed. I've also heard that young Sir Zhao is only an emperor but has the battle power of an early-stage mystic light realm. May I know if I can witness young Sir Zhao's handsome figure? Seeing that Zhao Feng didn't say anything for a long time, Tai Hongling thought that she had dazzled Zhao Feng and gave a confident smile. She was extremely satisfied by Zhao Feng's bloodline, appearance, and display. Now she wanted to see if Zhao Feng was really as strong as the rumors said. Lady Hongling is extremely gorgeous and stunning. You've managed to become a quasi-sacred lord at such a young age. That is something that I can't compare to. Zhao Feng squinted his eyes as he inspected this girl. In terms of bloodline, she might be even stronger than Tai Ling Yun. As for why she didn't participate in the Crown Prince trial, perhaps she had failed to obtain the particular spot she wanted. Ha ha ha, little friend Zhao doesn't need to be humble. My granddaughter is very competitive. Why doesn't little friend show her a move or two? The white-robed elder laughed, and a surge of sacred lord-level magnificent power covered Zhao Feng and Tai Hongling. Shoo! The scenery in front of them changed, and they arrived in another dimension as a hot aura swept over them. In front of them was an area made from lava and countless volcanoes. There was even a volcano spewing lava not far away. Zhao Feng was faintly surprised. This little world was close to a real dimension and gave others a realistic feeling. Zhao Feng's eyes scanned over the place and found that this dimension had the elements of water, fire, and earth. Senior, you're not planning for me and your granddaughter to fight here, right? Zhao Feng was helpless. The white-robed elder had brought Zhao Feng into his little world without even asking for his opinion, but there was nothing Zhao Feng could do. This is my first time seeing young Sir Zhao. We don't want to damage our relationship, how about we only exchange 3 blows? Tai Hongling asked. She was very interested in the perfect blood devil son bloodline, and Zhao Feng's current attitude suited her. This was very rare. 3 moves would be enough to see Zhao Feng's true strength. It's just 3 moves. Little friend Zhao doesn't need to be so respectful. The white-robed elder said in a forceful tone. In reality, he was forcing Zhao Feng to show his strength this time to make the upper echelon of the Tai family witness it as well. Only then would they know if it was worth wedding Tai Hongling to Zhao Feng or not. After all, Zhao Feng disliked the Tai family, and the chance of him actually joining was quite low. They could only go for the second best and let Zhao Feng leave a few seats behind for the Tai family. However, Zhao Feng wouldn't be interested in normal females. Okay, 3 moves. Zhao Feng nodded his head. In the next instant, Zhao Feng used the lightning wings flying technique and circulated the golden kun sacred lightning body as he charged toward Tai Hongling and punched out. If it was just 3 moves, then Zhao Feng would take the lead and end it quickly. Zhao Feng knew that the white-robed elder wanted to see his true strength, so he didn't dare to underestimate Tai Hongling. However, he couldn't use his eye bloodline or else the white-robed elder and the others from the Tai family that were hiding would be dissatisfied and make the situation even more troublesome. As long as he passed this stage for now, Zhao Feng would be able to leave with the 9th prince to go to Lan province the next day and completely leave the Tai family. In the future, Zhao Feng would try his best not to come to Ling province unless he was strong enough or unless his force was at a level that the Tai family wouldn't dare to do anything to him. Boom. A powerful physical force merged with the fire of wind lightning and exploded from Zhao Feng's fists. Ding. Peng. 2 blood-red curved blades appeared in Tai Hongling's hands and blocked Zhao Feng's sacred lightning dominating fist. Young Sir Zhao is really impatient. Tai Hongling's sexy voice sounded next to Zhao Feng. She was dissatisfied that Zhao Feng wanted to end this fight as soon as possible. What power! Zhao Feng exclaimed in his heart. He knew that, in order to utilize the Blood Devil Sun bloodline, members of the Tai family would have to train body strengthening techniques. However, Tai Hongling's power was much stronger than Tai Lingyun's during the Crown Prince trial. Boom. The bloodline within Tai Hongling's body suddenly erupted and caused her wicked red hair to blow in the wind. A glass-like red color also appeared on her skin, making her seem as if she was a work of art. Bam! Zhao Feng was pushed back, and a fiery sensation washed over his sacred lightning body. At this moment, Tai Hongling floated in the air and was surrounded by fiery flames, as if she was a goddess of fire, elegant and noble. Whoosh! Boom! Zhao Feng's gold and blue figure released a ball of fire that dyed his body the color of fresh blood, and a pair of lightning wings extended across his back as if they were the immortal fire wings of a golden crow. A forceful and fiery aura formed a blast that swept over in every direction. The lava below started to tremble. Boom! 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 Explosions sounded from countless volcanoes, and a surge of lava shot out, causing the world to turn red and fiery hot. The perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline? Tai Hongling's eyes inspected Zhao Feng, and her heart faintly shook. Zhao Feng's bloodline gave her a feeling that made her want to stand next to him. Young Sir Zhao, it's my turn to attack now. Tai Hongling shouted as she waved the blood-colored curved blades in her hands. Blood Demon Scarlet Moon. Tai Hongling used a profound movement technique to instantly approach Zhao Feng. She then sliced out and created a flaming scarlet-red curved moon that shot toward Zhao Feng. In an instant, all the power of fire nearby seemed to be sucked in to increase the power of this attack. Zhao Feng's expression changed slightly as the flames around his body rose once more. A barrier made of his scarlet lightning appeared in front of him. At the same time, a unique blood-red sun started to burn and spin behind Zhao Feng. Fire started to slowly gather from the earth and sky, increasing the power of Zhao Feng's bloodline. What a powerful ability to absorb fire! Tai Hongling's eyes sparkled. The rate of absorption from Zhao Feng's bloodline was much stronger than hers. Peng! Boom! A blood-colored wave exploded. Whoosh! In the next instant, a figure charged out from the center of the explosion. Boom! Zhao Feng's body left behind a flower of fire as he appeared next to Tai Hongling in a flash. This is the Blood Devil Charge. Tai Hongling looked at Zhao Feng's current state. Fire burned across his body, and it was releasing explosions at every moment. The secret technique that was used in cooperation with the Blood Devil Sun bloodline was the Blood Devil Charge. Peng! The Blood Devil Charge, in addition to the lightning wing's spatial flash, shot toward Tai Hongling. Boom! A red figure was slammed into the lava below. Boom! Tai Hongling suddenly charged out. At this moment, half of her clothes had been destroyed, revealing a flawless body. Her pair of jade legs was enough to make any male go crazy. Hongling, stop! The white-robed elder suddenly called out, and the power of the little world descended onto Tai Hongling, instantly suppressing her bloodline power. Thank you, young Sir Zhao, for teaching me. I admire your strength. Tai Hongling soon calmed down and gave a faint smile as her grandfather stopped her. Zhao Feng's increase in speed at the end caught her off guard, but she didn't think that Zhao Feng could actually defeat her. However, his strength had reached the minimum requirement of her future husband. Little friend Zhao's strength has indeed opened my eyes. The white-robed elder laughed. He had only heard of Zhao Feng learning the Blood Devil Charge during a fight with Tai Lingyun, but that wasn't enough to make him believe it. Now that he had seen it in person, the white-robed elder completely believed it, and he was extremely excited. The power of an eye bloodline that could steal an opponent's secret technique in just one exchange was definitely not weaker than the perfect Blood Devil Sun bloodline. Furthermore, the white-robed elder also saw that Zhao Feng had good control over his Blood Devil Sun bloodline and had some shadows of the Tai family's techniques. He had probably learned something else when fighting Tai Lingyun. On top of that, even though Zhao Feng only had a slight advantage against Tai Hongling, he hadn't even used his eye bloodline. If Zhao Feng used his eye bloodline, which was even stronger, the situation would have been very different. Who? The world around them started to disappear, and they returned to the hall they were in moments ago. The hidden auras within the hall were all shocked and started to send each other messages. No, 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 Lady Tai Hongling went easy on me since she saw that I was only an emperor. Zhao Feng was very respectful to the white-robed elder's praise. This old man won't worry anymore. The white-robed elder laughed, and Zhao Feng's heart jumped. He felt that something bad was about to happen from what the white-robed elder said. This old man was planning to make Hongling experience the battlefield, so I'll leave her to little friend then. The elder in white robe said with a meek smile. Chapter 1019, Body Strengthening Breakthrough. This old man was planning to make Hongling experience the battlefield, so I'll leave her to little friend then. The elder in white robe said with a meek smile. The battlefield is extremely dangerous. This junior is useless and will probably be unable to protect Lady Hongling. Zhao Feng was surprised as he finally understood the white-robed elder's intentions. If Tai Hongling stayed by his side, then it would make the situation between him and the Tai family more complicated. If an accident really happened to Tai Hongling, then Zhao Feng would never be able to escape the Tai family. Does young Sir Zhao already dislike me? Tai Hongling had a playful smile as she looked at Zhao Feng. Little friend Zhao, don't be humble. We'll settle it like this then. The white-robed elder said with a smile, and Zhao Feng's expression changed. The actions of the Tai family's grand elder reminded Zhao Feng of Flooding Lake City's lord from the Azure Flower Continent. However, he could obviously see that there would be no results if he went against the grand elder of the Tai family. The Tai family just wants to put Tai Hongling with me. If I just completely ignore her, I believe that Tai Hongling will eventually start to dislike me. Zhao Feng thought of a plan. As long as Tai Hongling started disliking Zhao Feng, then all of this nonsense would end. In the end, Zhao Feng said no more and let the situation be decided like this. Figures started to appear in the hall after Zhao Feng left. Hongling, what do you think of Zhao Feng? The white-robed elder asked with a smile. Grandfather, can you not tell what I'm thinking? Tai Hongling's face was slightly red as she revealed a decisive look. Ha ha ha, I told you so. Zhao Feng's potential definitely exceeds any genius on the Imperial Dao rankings. There's no need to test him at all. Tai Hongmin's voice sounded. Zhao Feng told everyone else everything after returning to where the ninth prince and company were staying. Brother Zhao, this is good. I heard that Tai Hongling's potential isn't any weaker than Tai Lingyun, but because Tai Lingyun Sr. has too much power in the Tai family, Tai Hongling wasn't able to obtain a spot in the Crown Prince trial. Old Yang had a joyful expression as he immediately said. Ha ha ha, apart from that, Tai Hongling's battle power is quite decent as well. She'll be of great help to you all. Sacred Lord Kang Chong laughed. Many geniuses among the 8 big families and other forces had all tried to chase Tai Hongling and hadn't succeeded, but now the Tai family was just giving her to Zhao Feng. This was horrendous in the eyes of the rest of Great Gon's younger generation. That's right, Tai Hongling's battle power is quite decent. Old Ying agreed as well. Zhao Feng then heard from Old Ying that Sacred Lord Kang Chong was only sent here to protect the ninth prince and wouldn't fight for him. This meant that the ninth prince's battle power was actually very low, but luckily, after the ninth prince arrived in Lan province, he would be able to order around the forces that supported him. For example, if the members of the Ocean Smoke Pavilion were in Lan province as well, then the ninth prince could move them to his stronghold. On top of that, Zhao Feng also learned what the ninth prince's main mission was, taking over a city. Over half the territory in the 3 provinces had been taken over by the non-humans, so they obviously needed to take it back. It was easier to defend than attack, and almost all cities or strongholds had someone with the battle power of a sacred lord defending, which meant attacking would be even harder. This meant that Tai Hongling would indeed be very useful. Although she was only a quasi-sacred lord, her strength was comparable to normal sacred lords. While she couldn't win against the non-human sacred lords, she could at least stall them. The next day, Tai Hongling followed everyone else and headed toward Lan province. Isn't this the crown prince? A voice sounded before everyone left the palace. Oh, it's 13th brother. The 9th prince was full of smiles as he greeted. Alongside the 13th prince was about 100 or so subordinates. There were also 5 unique and powerful auras next to the 13th prince. I heard that your highness is heading toward Lan province. Maybe we'll meet at the same battlefield. I hope that you'll take care of me. The 13th prince laughed. Everyone's heart shook. It was obvious what the 13th prince's intentions were from the fact that he already knew the 9th prince's destination and had come here at the same time. Of course, we're both Imperials and need to try our best to take back the fallen territory of the Great Gon Lord dynasty. The 9th prince immediately said. He had learned a lot after becoming the crown prince. He needed to put on a mask in front of certain people. I hope your highness has a safe journey. The 13th prince said before leaving. Everyone then sat on the flying flaming chariot and headed toward Lan province. Because there was one extra person, the flying chariot was extremely crowded. Tai Hongling obviously tried to trouble Zhao Feng, But Zhao Feng entered seclusion and didn't respond at all. Brother Zhao's self-control is so strong. Emperor Ghost Scales sighed in his heart. Several dozen days later, everyone arrived at Jiabao City in Lan Province. Your Highness, I'll be leaving this to you then. The sacred lord that had been originally guarding this city took some of his close subordinates and left, heading toward the war hall in Lan Province. The war hall was the same thing as where they stayed when they were in Ling Province. It was the battle headquarters in each province. Of course, the war hall in Ling Province had the most power. The captains and soldiers here were unwilling to see the sacred lord that had been guarding Jiabao City leave. After all, they had fought alongside this sacred lord for a year. The rankings in the city were very simple. It was split into the ranks of general, captains, and soldiers. The general was obviously the ninth prince. Captains were usually emperors or quasi-sacred lords. According to their war record, they were then split into 3 stars, and the more stars one had, the more soldiers they could lead. The minimum requirement to be a soldier was the true spirit realm. Sigh, it's all over now. How can the crown prince fight a war? Shh! Be a bit quieter. While the crown prince has no sacred lords, there should be at least a few strategists. That's right. Moondragon City has 2 sacred lords. From the looks of it, it'll be impossible for us to take over the city. Instead, we might even lose another one. Many of the captains and soldiers weren't very confident in the crown prince and had negative attitudes. The next day, the ninth prince summoned the captains for a meeting so that he could get to know them and learn about how the battle was going. Although the captains weren't confident in the crown prince, they didn't show any obvious signs. Many captains were attracted by Tai Hongling the moment they entered the hall. A small number of captains obviously knew her identity and stopped thinking what they had been thinking. At the same time, they were curious as to why Tai Hongling would be together with the ninth prince. Jiabao City's main goal is to take over Moondragon City. Moondragon City has 43 captains and 2 sacred lords. A 3-star captain told the ninth prince and company what the situation was like as the meeting started. In comparison to the battle power of Moondragon City, the battle power of Jiabao City was a bit weaker after the original sacred lord and several quasi-sacred lords left. They only had 32 captains, and only 4 of them were 3-star captains. After getting to know the situation, the ninth prince appointed 4 more captains. They were Old Ying, Zhao Feng, Emperor Ghost Scales, and Tai Hongling. According to the rules, they had to all start off as 1-star captains and would only be able to gain more stars if their results proved to be good. Senior Ying, please take care of me in the future. Lady Hongling, I didn't think that I would be able to witness your skills once more. The other captains all started to greet and interact with the new captains. The new captains were usually the strongest battle powers that a prince brought. It was only a matter of time until they reached 3 stars. Amongst them, the most welcomed was obviously Tai Hongling. However, Tai Hongling ignored these captains and only looked at Zhao Feng, making the expressions of some captains become unhappy. After the meeting ended, Zhao Feng and the members of the Ji family left with Emperor Ghost Scales. Ji Lan and company could be captains as well according to their strength, but they were still too young, so it was somewhat risky for them to lead others. Furthermore, Zhao Feng was responsible for their safety, so the 3 of them were going to be in his group. Emperor Ghost Scales, you will become a 3-star captain soon as well. Zhao Feng comforted. The others were relatively cold toward Emperor Ghost Scales in the meeting since he was extremely unknown. Zhao Feng immediately entered seclusion the second he returned to his residence. A multicolored honey appeared in Zhao Feng's hand within the misty spatial world. I can finally push toward the 6th level of the sacred lightning body now. Zhao Feng had been focusing on his soul and eye bloodline after the Crown Prince trial ended. He had also tried to form his little world of illusions. Everything was now steady. Zhao Feng had also already used 1 portion of the 100 origin sacred honey before the Crown Prince trial. If he used up another portion so quickly, it would dramatically reduce its effectiveness. Zhao Feng had been stalling for a long time in order to maximize the power of this 100 origin sacred honey. After my sacred lightning body reaches the 6th level, I'll be able to counter normal sacred lords with my body alone. The 6th level of the sacred lightning body corresponded to sacred lords. Quasi-sacred lord meant that one's power, enchant, or some aspect was comparable to mystic light realm sacred lords, but they hadn't actually broken through yet. Zhao Feng's strength had already surpassed the level of a quasi-sacred lord, but once his body reached the level of a mystic light realm, he would be considered a genuine quasi-sacred lord. Zhao Feng drank the portion of 100 origin sacred honey. He instantly felt a pure and sacred aura spreading throughout his organs and limbs, then into his crystal core dimension and his lightning soul body. Zhao Feng felt as if his entire body had ascended for a short moment. However, the effectiveness of this portion of 100 origin sacred honey was weaker than the first time he used it. Zhao Feng immediately started to circulate his sacred lightning body. Hu tilde Wang. Wang. His body started to become taller, and golden blue light flashed around his body. Profound lines of lightning blinked around the surface of his body and occasionally released light. After circulating the sacred lightning body, his absorption rate doubled, and the energy was used to refine his body. This time, Zhao Feng decided to use all of the 100 origin sacred honey on increasing his state of existence. Zhao Feng closed his eyes as a layer of fire of wind lightning surrounded him. Wang Wang crack. Zhao Feng's bones cracked at a certain moment, and scarlet golden lines started to extend and release light on his skin. Who? In an instant, Zhao Feng's bones and body suddenly became taller, and he seemed to turn into a real giant. In terms of size, he had already exceeded normal humans. Wang. A faint scarlet golden layer of lightning flashed around Zhao Feng, and he radiated an invisible force. Boom. 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 The ground around Zhao Feng instantly started to turn black. Luckily, all of this was within his misty spatial world, or else his residence in the real world would have been destroyed. Wang. The layer of golden red light around Zhao Feng became brighter and almost materialized. At last, this scarlet golden light condensed around Zhao Feng's body. 6th level of the sacred lightning body. Joy appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Chapter 1020, Non-Humans Attacking. 6th level of the sacred lightning body. Joy appeared on Zhao Feng's face. A couple breaths later, Zhao Feng calmed down, and his body size returned to normal. The lightning around his body also quickly faded away. After his sacred lightning body broke through to the 6th level, Zhao Feng would be able to fight against normal sacred lords without the use of his eye bloodline or true yuan. If he cultivated the undying sacred lightning body to the late stages, his power, defense, and recovery speed would have no weaknesses. After his golden kun sacred lightning body reached the 6th level, he could also start to cultivate secret techniques such as the sky-destroying sacred lightning palm and physical force lightning domain. Sky-destroying sacred lightning palm, even more forceful than the sacred lightning dominating punch, very destructive, and countered the power of domains and little worlds. Physical force lightning domain, by relying on the usage of wind lightning through yuan and physical force to form a domain of lightning, it could heavily restrict the enemy and buff Zhao Feng's lightning domain. The physical force lightning domain was similar to a domain or little world. Once he cultivated it, it was the same as having one more domain. Furthermore, according to what Zhao Feng knew, he now met the requirements to cultivate rebirth from blood, but the golden kun sacred lightning body didn't have the cultivation technique for it. I'll first cultivate the sky-destroying sacred lightning palm, then. Zhao Feng planned. Although he had cultivated the sacred lightning dominating punch to the maximum, it couldn't deal very much damage to the sacred bodies of sacred lords. If Zhao Feng met a sacred lord that specialized in body strengthening, his sacred lightning dominating punch would basically do nothing. Of course, the requirements for the sky-destroying sacred lightning palm were much higher than the sacred lightning dominating punch. The sky-destroying sacred lightning palm focused on the word destroy, to destroy everything. The bigger the target, the more effective it was. The sky-destroying sacred lightning palm worked well with the fire of wind lightning, and it could destroy as much as possible. Zhao Feng suppressed his sacred lightning body and started to practice the sky-destroying sacred lightning palm. Boom. Wang. Wang. Zhao Feng thrust out, and a large golden red palm with countless arcs of lightning shot out, making the air shake. Being the owner of the misty spatial world, Zhao Feng could feel any change in this little world. It is indeed very destructive to domains. Zhao Feng was stunned. This palm technique was very destructive against domains, little worlds, and even sacred bodies of sacred lords to some extent. Wang. Shu. Shu. Zhao Feng didn't dare to train this skill at full power or else it would damage the little world within the misty spatial world. While training the sky-destroying sacred lightning palm, Zhao Feng was also adapting to the 6th level of the sacred lightning body. In this period of time, the three members of the Ji family and Tai Hongling had come over, but they didn't disturb him after seeing that he was in seclusion. This Zhao Feng only knows how to cultivate. Tai Hongling stomped her foot outside Zhao Feng's residence and left fuming. Zhao Feng had been cultivating ever since he left Ling province and was still cultivating after arriving. This gave her no chance to initiate contact with Zhao Feng. On this day, Zhao Feng felt a surge of intent outside his residence and came out of the misty spatial world. "Senior Zhao, we're gathering," Ji Tianming immediately said. Disturbing others while they were in seclusion was a very dangerous action, but the situation was urgent. What happened? Zhao Feng paused for a moment. He remembered the ninth prince saying that he would direct some soldiers from other places, and they would be from the forces that supported him. According to what Zhao Feng knew, the members of the Ocean Smoke Pavilion were in Lan province as well. This was a good piece of news, at least Zhao Feng could protect the members of his own force. However, only 3 days had passed since he entered seclusion. Directing the troops shouldn't have happened so quickly. The enemy is attacking. Excitement and solemnness appeared in Ji Tianming's eyes. Oh? Zhao Feng gave a faint smile. 12,000 miles away from Jiabao City was Moondragon City, which the non-humans ruled over. Although the overall strength of Moondragon City was stronger than Jiabao City, the non-humans had done nothing so far and were in a defensive state. According to the intel, the area that the ninth prince was stationed had been heavily eroded by the non-humans, and Moondragon City was alone or in enemy grounds. Therefore, Moondragon City needed to wait for the other non-humans nearby to gather before they could unleash their attack. This was why Moondragon City had 2 sacred lords. From this, one could see how difficult the task given to the ninth prince was. However, this was good news for Zhao Feng. 2 non-human sacred lords equals 40,000 war points. Zhao Feng cracked a smile. 1 great origin core realm was 10 war points, a king was 100, an emperor was 1,000, while sacred lords were worth 20,000 each. Furthermore, there were only a limited number of sacred lords in both lord dynasties. It was extremely rare for one city to have 2 sacred lords. The strength of these sacred lords was a bit weaker than Sacred Lord 10,000 Lightning, Sacred Lord Black Demon, and company from the Crown Prince trial. In the past, the troops within Moondragon City were stronger than us, but they never attacked. Looks like the non-humans know that Jiabao City has switched generals. The true spirit realm cultivators in the back lines within Jiabao City discussed. The ninth prince was with the captains on the city walls. Countless non-human soldiers were outside Jiabao City and radiated an evil battle intent. "Your Highness, what should we do?" A 2-star captain had a solemn expression. The non-humans of Moondragon City definitely knew that Jiabao City's sole sacred lord had left. Without the battle power of a sacred lord, Jiabao City was in dire straits, but if the general didn't give them the order to retreat and they left on their own accord, they would be considered deserters. "Use defense as offense," the ninth prince said in a certain tone. While others thought that Jiabao City didn't have any sacred lord battle power present, the ninth prince and the Ji family members knew that Zhao Feng wasn't any weaker than normal sacred lords. It was easier to defend than attack. Even with Zhao Feng's help, the ninth prince didn't have much hope to conquer Moondragon City. Now that Moondragon City's forces were attacking instead, it made the ninth prince and Old Ying happy. "Zhao Feng, don't reveal your strength," Old Ying and the ninth prince messaged Zhao Feng. At this moment, they didn't want to reveal their hidden card, Zhao Feng, yet. They would defend first and gradually weaken the strength of the non-humans. Once the time was right, they would counterattack and completely take over Moondragon City in one fell swoop. Zhao Feng nodded his head. At the same time, he got to know the 2 sacred lords of Moondragon City. They were Sacred Lord Raging Force of the Crocodile human race and Sacred Lord Dark Shadow of the Scorpion men race. Amongst the 2, Sacred Lord Dark Shadow was the enemy's general. Use defense as offense? The captains almost fell from the city wall after hearing what the ninth prince said. They were the ones at a disadvantage and should obviously be focusing on defense, but where the heck did offense come from? Sigh. Many captains sighed. The Crown Prince was too young and didn't even know the difference in strength between himself and the enemy. They might very likely lose the city in this battle. "Lady Hongling, we'll be relying on you this battle," a captain next to Tai Hongling said to her. Tai Hongling had the battle power of a quasi-sacred lord, and with the help of a few others, she should be able to stall a sacred lord. Zhao Feng, let's see who gets more war points this time. Tai Hongling completely ignored what the captain said and looked at Zhao Feng as bright lights flashed through her eyes. The expression of the captain became ugly, but he didn't dare to say anything. All he could do was glance at Zhao Feng in disdain and laugh coldly in his heart. The experts that guarded the northwestern region against the non-humans didn't know too much about the rest of the Lord dynasty, so only a few people knew about Zhao Feng's performance in the Crown Prince trial. Sure. Zhao Feng replied simply. This time, I won't go easy. Tai Hongling revealed a charming smile. Although she had lost during their spar before, she believed that, in a real fight, the loser would be Zhao Feng. It was time for her to display herself in front of Zhao Feng. Boom. The enemy troops ahead suddenly started to move. Attack Jiabao City and cut the humans inside into pieces. A big non-human male covered in dark green scaly armor roared. This non-human was one of the sacred lords of Moondragon City, Sacred Lord Raging Force. Kill. Limitless non-human soldiers and captains charged over with frenzy and bloodthirstiness like a swarm of black clouds. Ha ha ha, did you really think that I wouldn't attack Jiabao City? You took away a Sacred Lord General and put a quasi-Sacred Lord General instead. Sacred Lord Raging Force couldn't help but laugh. Although their main task was just to guard Moondragon City and wait for the other non-humans, Jiabao City took away their only Sacred Lord. After he and Sacred Lord Dark Shadow reported this to the upper echelon, they went on the offensive. Since there might be some danger in actually taking over the territory, the goal of the attack this time was just to kill all the experts within Jiabao City. Defend. The captains from Jiabao City's side all flew out. This allowed them to stall the enemy captains and direct their own troops. Zhao Feng flew out alongside Emperor Ghost Scales and company. Boom. Ding. Bam. The non-humans surged forward like a desolate beast and charged toward the lines of Jiabao City's defense. The captains and soldiers of Jiabao City tried their best to defend and clashed against the non-humans. The instant they clashed, there were all kinds of ice, fire, water, and lightning shooting through the sky. Little kiddo, you managed to become an emperor at such a young age? You should be some genius from a big family. Unfortunately, you shouldn't have come to the battlefield. A snakeman clad in dark red scaly armor was roaring with laughter. Zhao Feng didn't say anything. He simply suppressed his sacred lightning body to 50% of his full power. To others, he was just at the level of an emperor. Sacred lightning dominating punch. Zhao Feng punched out, and metallic mountains crushed toward the snakeman. This brat's fist intent is so profound. The snakeman in dark scaly red armor had a grim expression. He had no advantage against Zhao Feng. Instead, he felt restrained by this youth, and he was unable to use his full power. The sky in the distance suddenly darkened, and a fierce aura appeared. Ha ha ha, who from Jiabao City dares to fight me? Sacred Lord Raging Force stood in the clouds and gazed down at Jiabao City. The Sacred Lord that originally guarded this place had left, so he really wanted to know who from Jiabao City could fight him. Come with me. Tai Hongling charged out at this moment, and her bloodlines started to burn. She was like a light of attraction on the battlefield. Seeing that Tai Hongling was so fierce, the captains from Jiabao City let out a breath. 2 3-star captains charged into the sky and challenged the Sacred Lord alongside Tai Hongling.